Hey there guys, Nolan and Jason here with Plumbing Webmasters and DataPins.
Howdy.
So plumbing SEO and preparing for AI integration, integrated search part 2. And so years ago, they started talking about, how long ago, EEAT or EAT?
EAT 3 years ago, maybe?
Acronym for Experience, Expertise, Authority, and Trust. And
Originally, Expertise, Authority, and Trust.
You're right. Yeah. Experience got added recently.
Yeah, just in the past 6 months or less.
So EAT or EEAT. So they wanted essentially, the concept behind this was natural organic growth and or management of your digital brand for a better user experience. And Google came out and would say things like, write for your customer, not for us.
Right.
Don't try to trick Google into showing you. Instead, write a great website and our search engine will figure it out. And you don't have to plug in keywords or write blog entries that nobody wants to read or try to trick us or pay for links out of Mumbai, India.
Right.
So, and then the acronym, they said, think about experience, expertise, authority, and trust as that's manifested through digital branded signaling, and try to get that out to us.
Right.
Now, the problem was, for years, it didn't actually work that way.
Yeah, well, I think we may have made this point before, that Google has this tendency to tell us all what they want us to do before they're actually ready to enforce their wishes.
Right.
This goes back to the link spam of the early 2000s.
Right.
When people, you'd have a local plumber with 250,000 incoming links.
They dominate Dallas plumbing. Yeah.
And Google kept saying, don't do that. We don't want you to do that. We want links to be organic. We don't want you to buy links, but buying links worked. And then one day they finally got the algorithm to the point where it could spot bad links.
Right.
And then they flipped a switch and everybody crashed and burned.
Right. So people are crashing and burning now.
Yeah.
With the new algorithm update, which Google Helpful Content Update, which was a preemptive strike against essentially AI content, right?
AI and just spammy garbage content in general.
So a lot of
garbage doesn't even mean badly written.
Right.
You could have a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist write you 100 blog entries, and if there are 100 blog entries that aren't useful to anybody, that's garbage content.
So if we had a large plumber in a market, and we had quite a few service pages for them and city pages, and we did up to say 20 city pages, and let's just say we did 20 service pages, like a lot. Everything from a front yard line leak to whole house repiping to toilet repair and garbage disposal and maybe even a shut-off valve or a hose bib or something. So all that stuff's in there, and they got 40 of those pages. They got 5 of their pages, like homepage, about us, contact, sitemap.
Yeah, the vanity stuff.
Yeah, so you have a 45-page site. It's a pretty big site, but all the content's very relevant and accepted by Google today.
Yeah.
Pretty much anybody who's been calling recently since the end of 2022, which was only
6 months ago.
6 months ago, that has 100 pages or more, this includes the blog entries, are all doing poorly.
Yeah.
Even just
every time they're like, I don't know what's going on, you look and it's like, oh, here's 300 pages.
I had somebody call the other day, they could have a 70, 60 page site, but they only had 5 service pages. And so it was just essentially just a bunch of garbage.
I was about to say blog entries or...
Blogs for sure were in there, but they had news and just, charitable work and other, just their About Us section was huge.
Yeah.
It was just trashed up. It was probably copied content and junk from a template. But the point is, pretty bad EEAT. Not really thinking about a user experience. Very little to help with experience, expertise, authority, and trust. So these signals tend to come in, and we over years developed a product called DataPins in a separate corporation with similar ownership, and it allows a plumber to go out and take photos of a job. Within 60 seconds, they can pick up their phone, tag some photos, write a caption like just replaced a Rinnai tankless water heater or did a whole house, repiping or whatever it is, tag the service page that's on the app because it's fully integrated with their website, tag the city they're in, and then put in the client's cell phone and hit pin, and it'll automatically text that client links to reviews like Google or BBB. It'll automatically put the photo and caption up to the Google account, which can actually, that caption that's a technical perspective can expand keywords by the thousands.
Yeah.
Because now Google knows they work on an ice maker shutoff valve, or instead of tankless water heater, a Rinnai tankless water heater, and so on.
Right.
So it just, the keywords can just compound and just keep going. And then the website individual pages through relevant entity categories gets enhancement through the captions, unique photos, and then of course the GPS digital hand raise, which helps your map show up. So you have 100 reviews, but you've done 1,500 jobs. Yeah. And Google gives you more credit for those by seeing the GPS coordinates, or what we call a data pin, part of a data pin.
Yeah. And every one of those has relevant keywords and GPS data,
which
to tie it all together.
That you're likely to get more reviews. You're signaling around town where you are. You're talking about really interesting types of content that's unique, which all helps with experience, expertise, authority, and trust.
Right.
And by the way, it makes a phenomenal page for someone to go view.
Right.
So now all of a sudden someone's like, wow, I think I've got the same type of front yard line leak right here where they were talking about it.
And he fixed one of these 2 weeks ago, just down the street.
Literally have photos of water standing next to their meter and talking about it, and someone staring at the photo with a geo-coordinate down the street.
Yeah.
Google picked it up, read it, and said, hey, this company here, Bob's Plumbing Service, they just did this thing. And so those pins are, now just keep this in mind. So this number 2, with AI content, the algorithms move towards relying on more of EEAT, getting rid of trashy content, things like data pins, this type of signaling. And instead of somebody just having some links or throwing in some crappy blog post, they're now watching this work happen daily. Those pins go up to the website immediately. Google's spidering you now once a day and caching all this new content and expanding your keyword base and feeling more comfortable with your brand.
Yeah.
Nolan Walker here for DataPins. You may not know, but I own a software company, and we have a proprietary software called DataPins, DATAPINS. You can search it at datapins.com. This is not white labeled. I actually own this piece of software, and I made it for you. It was made for contractors. You can actually take pictures of jobs, up to 6, make a caption about the material, the brand, the situation, the repairs, and post that back to your individual pages on your website, just like that. It's super simple. Anyone could use it. It also texts and emails your clients direct links to your reviews, so it helps reputation and reviews, which helps conversion and map placement. The geo coordinate gets grabbed by DataPins, and Google can tell where you are. So instead of them just seeing reviews, they see all jobs or even estimates that you do. This vastly outperforms just getting reviews. Helps the map show up, helps organic keywords. And remember, those captions that you're putting in there help expand the keywords per page, and it's great regular content. I love it. We made it just for you. It is organic optimization on steroids for both your website, your rankings, and the map placement. Check out DataPins. I think you'll be happy you did.
Those pins of 20 words or less are probably worth more than 1,000-word pointless blog.
Well, penalty on that blog now.
Yeah.
Penalize. Yeah. So not only are they worth more, you can't really blog anymore.
Yeah.
It's been over since roughly September of last year.
Yeah.
And if you guys have been having trouble with, listen, and that's a loaded thing. If you've been having trouble with optimization, for one thing, our industry is full of so many bozos. I mean, they're just such bad people.
Yeah.
You know, and you have an army of horrific salespeople, worst salespeople you'd ever want. Yeah, anywhere. I mean, you always hear like a used car salesman. At least you're getting a car.
Yeah,
you know.
I'm thinking that should be for the new millennium. The terrible salesman should be the SEO salesman.
I mean, you're getting a car. It might need a transmission in it. It might need a valve job, but you got a car.
Yeah.
And when you go up and somebody starts talking trash and they sell you some little add-on or start talking about the word SEO, and that's presumably why someone's listening to us.
Right.
They're fed up.
Yeah, they've bought from somebody like that, and
Yeah.
it didn't work, and they're frustrated. Yeah.
You can show up in ranking. You can do well. And a lot of these, I talked to someone just 2 days ago that spends $30,000 in paid ads. And this was the one I was telling you about with about 60, 70 pages. I'm like,
Yeah.
because I looked at it and I'm like, they got a penalty on helpful content. And I was like, and as soon as I started, I was like, oh, okay, this is the algorithm pretty sharp because this is actually all trash content. They had just had a redesign. They didn't want to redesign it again, even though it had been completely screwed up, probably had 404 errors, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And they'd lost what little they were getting from it. So it was an HVAC company, though, so it was off-season. They're mad about their spend rate. They're not getting a response.
Not in the off season, no.
Nice thing about plumbing is, for the most part, there's some on-season. There's winter and
It's not nearly as
not as
seasonal.
bad. It's not as
Yeah.
bad. It's holidays. You got a little extra, but mainly you're going to get a return. But the point is, they'd had their site redone, spent a god awful amount of money on paid, and not getting a return on it, and had their SEO completely jacked, and called us as a result of it. But when people call us, by the way, I say it here, I don't always beat people up on the phone about this anymore, because we'll work on a website or we'll make a new one.
Yeah.
But when I personally tell you that you need a new website and you don't want to part with the trash that you have that doesn't work, which is the reason for the phone call in the first place, it's ridiculous.
But I love my website, but it doesn't work.
Especially when someone's spending $30,000 a month or $5,000 a month or anything.
$30,000 is just insane.
It was $1,000 a day. It was $1,000 a day.
Wow.
And
were they in a huge market, or?
I don't remember the market. I remember talking. I spoke with one of the owners. I spoke with one of the spouses on it. But it just, yeah. The point is, it's worth working on this. And just because you may have not have had a good SEO or a good digital marketing agency, you're going to be hard pressed to ever find anybody like us who's been doing this for 12, 13 years, owns a software company, has patent pending technology with DataPins. We're not white labeled. We own the whole thing. And then we integrate it from ground up.
Yeah.
Without an integration from ground up or partial integration where someone gives a crap about your SEO, you can't slap stuff on. The algorithm's way too smart for that, trying to trick Google.
Right.
So those days are over, and the less you decide to work on it, the more you're going to pay on your paid, the less you're going to get out of organic. And in defense of anybody, you don't know these people are bozos.
Yeah.
They're lying to you.
Yeah, tons of them call you. A lot of the bozos, they'll tell you stuff that sounds really similar. And they'll tell you they can do this and they can do that, and they're all saying the same thing.
Yeah.
I get it. It's confusing.
It's confusing. You got to get somebody, though, eventually to do a good job. If somebody's telling you that you can just slap a veneer over the top of it and the hidden message there.
Put
that
up some landing pages.
We'll keep the premise is this: your website isn't currently liked by Google.
Right.
All these people pretty much don't redo anything or help anything. Yeah. And go, we're going to do this to it, and then make Google like your trash. And people say, okay. And that's the main sale.
Because they don't have to change much.
They don't have to change
it's more
much.
Comfortable. Yeah.
It's easier for the client who doesn't want to change stuff either. Go, oh God, you don't have to change. No, boss, we're going to get this thing. We're going to trick Google. We're smarter than Google. We're smarter than AI. I can't even imagine, man. Like the day of tricking them is over. Your job is
the day of tricking them's been over.
It's over.
Yeah. I mean, it's like
I think the day of pre-warning people about change is over too. Post AI, give it 18 more months.
Yeah.
And Google won't. No, we won't have a year or two. Is like, stop doing that. Google just say, hey AI, we're sick of this one. And what would have taken them like 1 trillion lines of code 3 years
will now be an instruction to the AI.
Yeah, it'll just be an AI instruction.
Skynet, don't let them do that anymore.
Yeah, they come
Launches new.
Right. They sleep and wake up, and then the problem's solved, and the algorithm changes.
5 years from now, we're sitting here in a bunker in hazmat suits. Don't spam your website or you'll get nuked. Skynet will send the Terminators.
Horrible stuff. There's horrible things going on. Like, I don't remember the ad I read, but somebody, and I don't know if they point like something at you or if they actually had to do a brain scan or... but they literally could read the thoughts out of a human brain.
I told you about the Army thing, right?
You told me about the Army thing.
Should I tell it to
you? Yeah,
you?
it's horrifying.
The Army did war games where they had an AI-controlled drone, and the drone had been given I read about this like 2 days ago. The drone had been given the instruction, and the primary directive was locate and identify targets and destroy them. But it had to ask permission from a human operator to destroy the target.
Yeah.
So it would go out there, and it got points for destroying targets, and it was designed to want to get more points. So it went out, and it identified a target. Human said go, and it destroyed it. This is all war games. None of this was literally happening, but there was an AI running, making these decisions. And then finally the human said, no, don't destroy that. And after like 2 of those, the AI said, no, I want my points, and bombed the human operator's location to kill them so that the AI could take out any target it wanted. So they updated the program and said, okay, you're not allowed to kill the human operator. So the next time the human operator said no, the AI blew up the communications tower that allowed the human to tell him no.
And then they stopped.
And then they shut it down, and they have to figure out how to make the program more sophisticated.
Yeah, there's all sorts of horrifying things. Like, I mean, what's the human going to be like once humans don't have to work anymore? Yeah. And then they're giving the instruction to the AI.
You've seen Wall-E, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's in a floating chair and weighs 500 pounds.
Yeah, what's the one? It's not AI related, but just future related. Luke Wilson got, like, put in cryo.
Idiocracy.
And then they're all basically watering their crops with Gatorade and drinking. And then the crops quit growing. No one has any brain cells left. And Luke, who was the most average guy.
But he's a genius compared to that. It's actually based on a short story from the 60s called March of the Morons.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not considered an adaptation, but if you've ever read March of the Morons, the first time I saw Idiocracy, I'm like, these guys stole March of the Morons.
It feels like we're headed that way, you know, right now. But yeah, regardless of what you're concerned about with everything going on,
yeah,
and I think, and everybody sits around talking about this stuff, you still got to do this stuff for now. And luckily, you're a plumber. I think some of the best stuff done. I think we got a while before we've got the robots running around doing the plumbing,
doing all the plumbing. Yeah.
I don't know how long, but we got plenty of time, I think, before that occurs. So you still got to do your SEO, still got to get all these factors out. And it's not horribly difficult. In fact, the AI, with a little bit of support and help, it's gonna, for now, at least, the foreseeable future will make things better. And you'll be able to...
And people are going to call you and say, oh, you got to integrate AI into your SEO. You really can't. There's nothing to integrate.
Not yet.
AI is on the search, filtering, and display end. Mostly it's going to be used as a buzzword and a thing to make you afraid that you're missing out on something. There's going to be a lot of FOMO on AI.
And we'll talk about it in part 3 real quick, okay? So we'll move on, and you need all these signals, need all this stuff, need the fundamentals followed by the best signaling. DataPins does that. DataPins was something we force, looking forward to the future and saying, hey, what's the best form of content? What's the best form of branded digital signaling?
Yeah.
And all that done, 60 seconds a job, or the desktop version, you can do it internally if you have like a House Call Pro, or if you already got your photos and stuff and the addresses, you can actually do each one of them and pin those from the office. But like and subscribe and call whenever you're ready. We can move through this stuff pretty quickly. It takes minutes for us to assess this stuff and check it out. Happy to answer questions, and hope to hear from you.
Take it easy.